Buongiorno a tutti e a tutte. Intanto volevo salutare tutti voi, i colleghi dei Parlamenti nazionali. Sono molto lieto di dare il benvenuto per l'apertura di questa riunione interparlamentare di Commissione sul tema diritti umani e azioni esterne dell'Unione Europea e degli Stati membri. Ritengo innanzitutto importante sottolineare che questo evento si tiene nel quadro della settimana dei diritti umani del Parlamento Europeo, che è intesa a celebrare il 70° anniversario della Dichiarazione universale dei diritti dell'uomo.
Names here written Miss Adriana Espinosa, the policy officer from the European Coalition for Corporate Justice. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we, considering where I have been hearing, I think we all agree in that one of the key challenges that we have today is the need to ensure respect for human rights in global business operations. So I am very happy also that members of national parliaments and the EU institutions are together today, because I want to highlight that we have a unique opportunity to address this challenge. So indeed, the French duty of vigilance law that Mr. Potier has mentioned before was a game changer, because it was the first law at a global level which imposed larger companies the duty to respect human rights in their overseas operations. But I think we must admit that France is not alone in this anymore. So today, more countries in Europe are starting to discuss or consider legislation that requires companies the duty to identify and prevent human rights impacts in their supply chains. So indeed, these legislations are requiring companies to undertake human rights due diligence, which is a core element of the United Nations guiding principles on business and human rights that the EU endorsed in 2011. So I want just to mention 3 examples. In Switzerland, we have a legislative process on mandatory due diligence legislation and corporate liability, which is gathering a lot of support by society and business. The Netherlands and Austria are also discussing legislation on child labor and garments, respectively. The German government has committed to look into possible legislation to enforce human rights by companies, human rights due diligence by companies. So definitely what these countries are doing is just responding to a growing social demand. Today, civil society organizations, unions, consumers, and even companies are increasingly calling for binding rules that requires companies respect human rights. And we see campaigns going on in Luxembourg, in Finland, and so on, so on. So this type of legislation, human rights due diligence legislation, gathers a lot of support because, on the one hand, it has a very strong preventive focus, while on the other hand, it can also enhance access to justice for victims of corporate abuses. So it's a very good kind of tool that people are starting to use and to call for. So in short, the change is happening now. Some European countries, civil society, and even companies are leading the way. And if the rest of member states in Europe and the European Union itself don't want to lag behind, they have to join this movement towards a more sustainable and fair economy by adopting binding rules on companies' respect for human rights. Thank you very much.
Now,